How's our audio doing? We're going to get on here a little bit early, folks. If you're joining in, we're going to get on a little early so we can check our audio. We're waiting for some of our guests to bring it on, make sure our microphones are working properly. Wow, that's quite a delay. So the show is going to be over, but it's still going to be going. We're going to have left the building, and the show is still going to be going. You guys will be in your cars, and the show will be over physically, but they're still going to be watching this on Facebook.
It's quite a delay. Got the mics working good?
Mics are working good. All right.
Shared on my page. We should be good.
Calvin's going to get it going on his page. Once we get that rolling, we'll officially kick off the start to the Michigan Outdoor Chatter podcast. We did not plan it. If you guys just caught that, it was in unison, delayed in unison.
Delayed unison.
But that was not. All right.
I think we're good.
Okay, we're good. Hey, everybody, thanks for joining us tonight for our very first episode of Michigan Outdoor Chatter. And we're pretty excited for you to be here. I was thinking, I'm very spontaneous, right? And what time was it I text you? Said, hey, I got an idea. Let's do a podcast. It was probably like 10 o'clock or something.
It was late at night.
It was late at night. And, I do stuff a little spontaneous. I think it drives my son a little crazy once in a while. But, hey, it's fun. We're having a good time here. But anyways, I want to thank everybody for joining us. We're hoping that this becomes a monthly ritual. Don't think we're going to be doing this thing daily, because that's not going to happen. We don't have time for that around here. But we're hoping that we do this about once a month. Get some different guests on here. I love just sharing and hanging out with the community. I love the people that come in the store. And our goal here during this podcast is really to kind of just bring relevant things in Northern Michigan together, where we can share with you guys just some really cool outdoor things that are going on in the area, unique products, bring in guests like we're going to do tonight, because that's just really cool, just kind of getting them in here and just hang out. But, we got to do the sponsor thing, all right? So as you guys are coming on, let's do the sponsor thing. You probably can't guess by the array that we have on the table tonight who our sponsors might be. So I'll lean forward in case you can't tell. But we want to thank Pepsi. Pepsi's a big sponsor for us. They've been helping us out with the buck pole. The buck pole, if you made it up to buck pole this year, was a real big event. I mean, we had more deer hanging by 1 o'clock than we had all of last year. And they were a great sponsor for us this year. Deering's Jerky, locally made. Again, we love these guys. They don't make a bad flavor, so you can close your eyes and pick one. Our other sponsors as well. Vortex Optics. Well, you guys are big supporters. We appreciate it. We talked to those guys today and want to make sure that we're okay to use them. They're a bigger brand. We want to make sure we're representing them good. And we appreciate them stepping up. And our friends down at Dreamweaver, Dreamweaver down in Ludington. I'm actually coming down to see you guys next Thursday and picking up a big load. Remember, we are doubling, almost tripling the size of our Dreamweaver selection this year. We're going to have 97.3, I just made the 0.3 number up, of all of their product this year. And we talked today. Shane's been kind of sick. He's feeling better now, but we thank all the sponsors down there. So let's get into this. I brought, I had several 100,000 people I could choose from, Kelvin, to bring my co-host today, and I picked you.
Well, I figured it's your first one.
Yeah.
And I figured when the wheels fall off the bus, I'd like to be riding it with you.
Right. Oh, that'll be fun.
Yeah. I think that's why you decided to have me on.
I've been bit by a dog one time in the last 25 years, and it was with you.
It was with me.
So
fortunately, it wasn't my dog.
It wasn't one of his dogs. This audience, okay? It wasn't one of his dogs. And I might have did some false advertising because I actually thought you were bringing the dog tonight. And I might have told the audience that.
I wish I could have brought the dogs.
Right. They need a rest. They've been doing a lot of tracking.
They did a lot of work this year. Yep.
Yeah, they've been doing a lot of tracking. But we kind of hit it off. When we first started the store, I remember when you even first came around the first time. And you're probably wanting a discount like everybody else that comes into the store.
It was before you opened the store, you and I hit it off.
It was?
Yeah.
Okay.
We talked about fishing and some of the different stuff to have in your store, and then we talked a little bit about...
So you're almost kind of like a mentor. So your fingerprints on the store.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Okay. Well, I was trying to puff you up a little bit.
But I appreciate that.
Well, we appreciate you coming on. So I was, it was late at night, about 10 o'clock, and I said, man, it might be time for us to do a podcast. Mm-hmm. And who would want to come on in the very first podcast? Because normally you would do it not live, and you would edit it, and have all this crew behind you, right? And But here we are. We didn't do that. We're going to go all in, raw, unedited. We have a 3-second delay. So if we do drop a bad word, we can kind of pause it. I don't even know if we have that capability.
Just stop watching.
We got quite the crew behind you right now, you guys, that you can't see. Like one guy on camera. That's our big clue. I think you can actually see him in the reflection.
Yeah, probably in the reflection.
So don't be staring at him because he didn't want to be on it. But so we're going to get into this, and I really appreciated getting to know you. I will give you credit. You did call me. I did ask you to call me on tracks, and you called me probably a good dozen times. And I went on how many tracks this year?
You went on, let me recount. 0.
Crickets in the background.
Yeah.
Crickets in the background.
Yeah.
I was either coyote hunting.
You got on me quite a bit this last season. You said you wanted me to call you when I had a track.
Yeah,
you wanted to come out. You wanted to follow along. I called you on all the good tracks.
That'll be another podcast.
The ones that were flat, dry.
I don't know. They were usually hilly ones because when you called me, I'm like, we're all done, and you're all out of breath.
Yeah,
and I'm like, thanks for not calling me on that one. So
maybe next year.
No, it'll be definitely next year. The season's not over yet.
It's not over yet.
The season's not over. So tell the audience how you got into tracking. Like, how did you get into all this?
So I got into tracking specifically in a lot of ways that most of my clients do, and I had shot a deer. Couldn't find it. Didn't really know what the next option was.
Okay, we do marksmanship training here too.
That's good. That's good. I heard that you guys got a good program here. Mm-hmm. So, but I had a dog come out. I watched the dog work. Didn't end up finding my deer at the time. Mm-hmm. And the deer tracker that I had out, kind of told me what he thought had happened. And, at that point in time, you're kind of like, yeah, okay, sure. He's just kind of going off of what he thinks he knows. And sure enough, 12 days later, I ended up killing that deer out of the same tree stand.
Okay.
And
so he came back by.
Everything he had told me was absolutely correct.
And it dispels the myth that they don't come back.
That's true. It does. Back. And so at that point in time, I had watched the dog work. I thought it was a really cool idea. I thought it was kind of neat. So I started doing a bunch of research, and then I got bit by it. And here we are.
Right. So you got bit too?
I did.
Okay.
Just not by
Just
that
not physically
dog.
bit,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And that buck was how big?
It was an 8-point. Yeah.
Like a basket one, or like
no,
a legit?
It was a nice 8-point. Probably
Okay.
106-inch 8-point. Nothing real big,
Sure.
Nothing like some of the bucks that you guys will see tonight.
Yeah. If you guys are just joining in, we're actually going to get to see some of the bucks that the dogs have found along the trail. So that's going to be cool.
Yeah.
So who can track with a dog? You got to have a special license. Can I just take a dog out there and go track deer?
You could, but legally by law that would be illegal.
Okay.
So in the state of Michigan, we have rules and we have guidelines set. We have to be registered with the state of Michigan.
Okay.
So anybody that I track for, I have to get your license number. I have to get your name, your information. It's not because we're calling in and turning you in for anything. It's just the fact that the DNR wants to know who we're tracking for at that specific time.
Right.
There's laws and things that can happen with a tracker. So let's say right now it's rifle season and you shoot a deer and we end up going out and tracking it. Let's say it's at midnight.
Right.
And that deer is still alive. Legally, by law, behind a registered tracker in the state of Michigan, you can dispatch that deer at night with the rifle.
Oh, you can?
It's of the weapon of the season.
Right, okay.
And that's only with a registered tracker. So that's something that a lot of people don't know.
So you're going along the trail. You guys see the deer.
Yep.
And it's archery season.
Yep.
You can have a notched arrow in your cross.
Only at the point of kill.
At the point of kill.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So only once we get to that point. And again, it's not hunting with dogs. I mean, there's a myth out there that we hunt with dogs. We're not hunting with dogs.
You're working.
The dogs are specific to what they're tracking, and so that's what the dogs are trained to track is what we're tracking, and it's your deer. It's one specific deer. So it's not like we're hunting deer with with
I guess I never thought about that. Like, all right, you find them half alive, you bump them off a bed.
Yep.
They got to be laying there. Can they be running?
Yep.
Or and you can still. Yep. Okay, interesting. Yep.
So
the ones tonight, were any of them were any of those like that or no?
Nope, none of these were alive when we found them. Okay. Fortunately, I don't like to track deer that are alive personally.
How often does that happen?
Quite often.
Really?
Yeah,
it does. Okay.
We'll get into a few details later on some of that, but about 60% of the time we go out on a track, that deer's going to be still alive.
Wow. Okay. So you kind of got to get into safety too, because you might be tracking. You got to see which houses are.
And that's where it really becomes for me. I for those of you that know, I track with a small dog.
Yeah.
And it's a safety factor for me, but it's also a safety factor for the hunters. I mean, that's one of the biggest things. When you call me out to do a track, I'm ultimately putting you in my hands, and I need to be responsible for you when we're out in that woods.
Right.
No matter what happens, whether it's the terrain, whether it's the animal that we're after, because again, we do track bears. I don't track bears at night. I only track
Probably a
her during
good
the day.
idea.
You know,
Yeah,
it could
probably
be
a good idea.
dangerous.
Yeah,
you
it
know?
could be a little
So,
dangerous. Same rules apply there.
Same rules apply there.
You can dispatch with the.
Yep, same rules apply there.
That's in season right then. Okay.
So with that said, you have to be a registered tracker, so you just can't take any old dog out in the woods. The dog doesn't have to be registered itself, but it's the tracker itself.
Right.
So even if you had a dog in training, unfortunately, by the DNR rules, you have to be a registered tracker in the state of Michigan. So it's not a lengthy process. It's not a hard process. It's just something that, formality-wise, you have to do.
Right. That's good to know. And guys, if you're just tuning in, we're going to get the 3 guests here later on that we're going to have on the show, and they're going to have mounts. 2 out of the 3 do. So we're going to get to see some of the stuff you tracked. Tell me a little bit about the little dog. I mean, I'll be honest. When I first met you and we're talking, I mean, I used to run Redbone Coonhounds and had several of them, had some champions. So I knew about a little bit of running dogs at that time. And then I meet your little dog. And I tell you what, like every preconceived notion I had of a tracking dog,
went
that
out the
dog
window.
broke every preconceived notion. So tell us about
Yeah,
that little guy.
that's kind of one of the fun things for me. If it's somebody I've never tracked for before and I show up to track, I
Right.
drive up in a big vehicle, I get out and I start giving my spiel, and then I open the back door and this little 22-pound Parsons Russell Terrier pops her head out.
Right. Have you ever are you kidding me, or like the old really?
Every time.
Every
Maybe not every time, but a lot of the times is like people are, they'll usually say, "Are you kidding me? That's going to track my
Yeah,
my
yeah,
deer?"
because they're expecting a big bloodhound.
Yeah.
They want floppy ears, long body, something from, where the red fern grows.
Yeah, so the specific dog, Willow, she's my oldest dog. She's
Yeah.
my most experienced dog. I've had her 5 years now. She's pushing 140 recoveries, I think, at this
Wow.
point.
Okay.
So she's got a lot of tracks on her belt. And then Scout is my other dog. He's a Louisiana
Now back to Willow for a
Catahoula.
second. What
Yeah.
breed is she?
Parsons Russell Terrier,
Okay.
like a Jack Russell.
Right.
Similar. Yeah.
Now, is that in their history, the track deer?
They use those over in Africa for big game hunting.
They do.
So that was kind of why I started out looking into different breeds. We have a Jack
It
Russell
wasn't a
at home.
budgetary thing.
No.
Okay.
No, we have a Jack Russell at home. My wife's couch queen.
Yeah, I've seen
And,
pictures of that one on Facebook.
Yep. So she decided that we should get another dog, and I said, well, if we're going to get another dog, it's going to be a dog that I want, and I'm going to have it do something.
Right.
And so I did some research. We had bought the Jack Russell from this breeder, and she had Parsons Russells, and so I said, well, let's try that out. And so we got her, and at 8 weeks old, the first day we got her, I had her outside tracking a deer leg through the snow, and then I just continued the process from there.
Right.
So
most of the time she goes on her, people see her come out of the car. They're like, "What the heck?"
Yeah, what are you
And
gonna
then
do with that?
Then she goes into action.
she goes into action, and one of my first things I have to tell hunters is, if we're fortunate enough to find your deer, please do not touch it until I tell you to.
I was going to get to that next. Because if you recall, we did go on a track together one time.
We did.
We kind of had a race. It was Gary against Willow.
I don't
had
think it was together. I think you beat me there.
I did, but I needed a little bit of a handicap.
Yeah, you got a little bit of a head start.
I got a little bit of a head start, and I think that was Patrick's deer.
It was Patrick's deer.
And I was really going. I mean, I was close.
You were doing good.
and that's probably the reason you get a big tip, because I pretty much got.
Yeah.
I noticed there was no money exchange between me and
wasn't.
Patrick. It was all between you.
It was
and-
all. Well, it was
right.
Willow's
And
it was
we literally
Willow's
got
money.
there. I think the dog was from here to the garage door over there. It wasn't very far away. One more minute,
But
and I would have got a purple ribbon.
moral of that story is she beat you there.
She did.
So-
She did beat me. So back to that part. So yeah, tell me what the deal is, because you did pull me back. I was going to walk up to the trophy, and you're like, "Hey,
Stop. Don't touch
and
it.
she's got to go do this thing.
Yeah, it's her thing.
Yeah, what is
That's
that?
just her deal. She puts the work in.
And she just goes up and starts.
And it'll be cool because I could tell these stories all day long, but when we get some of these guests on here tonight,
Yeah,
it'll be cool
we'll
for
tell
them
some more.
to tell the story. But that's just
Yeah.
her prize. I mean, she puts the work in. She's done all the work up until that point, and that's her reward.
Right, she got to go pull some hair out.
She'll pull a bunch of hair off of it. She'll make it hers, and I have to make sure I ask guys, "Are you going to mount this deer? Because if you are, I'll make sure she pulls on the other end."
Pulls on the other side. Yeah, exactly.
So,
Well, that's pretty awesome. Well, we're going to get to our guest number 1, and we got 3 guests tonight: Deanna and Jay. They're going to come up and join us now. We're going to hear
and I'm
all
going to
about
switch
their
sides so we can.
Yeah, we're going to hear all about their track and their experience with the dogs. And again, this is storytelling time. So some of this might be legendary. Some of this might be it might be some fish story going on there. That's okay, right?
Yeah, it's all good.
Some dramatization.
It's all good.
But we're excited to have 3 different guests tonight. And come on in. You're all mic'd up.
I think
All
I
right,
am.
do a little test for somebody. Test 1, 2, 3.
Look at that.
Yeah.
A couple of deer heads.
You'll be here for a minute. Your deltoid might burn if you start, if you keep holding them like that. We do want to see you on the video opposed to the deer. I mean, he can get comfy on the couch if you want him to. But hey, guys, appreciate you coming on. And, this is exciting to have both you guys here. I didn't know how many guests we're going to get when we first started doing this. And I asked him, hey, how many people do you think you can get? And
you said at least 3, and I got 5.
at least 3 to fill some time up.
Nice.
Yeah.
That works.
So we appreciate you coming on. I'm excited to hear about the story. I've not heard.
You haven't heard the story?
I've not heard the story. In fact, I didn't realize until about 3 or 4 minutes ago if he was Boyd or Jay. So we had Deanna and Jay. I got the names worked out. Boyd's sitting on.
Boyd's
deck
hanging
right
out in the background.
He's
Don't
over
worry.
makeup right now. He's getting all prepped up. They're trimming his beard to make him look good for being on live. But Kelvin's going to kind of take over this part and kind of lead us through the track and talk us through. It's going to be exciting. I want to hear about it.
Well, when you asked me to get a couple guests, I mean, I got a couple people from this year.
Yeah.
But I think the cool part with these guys is they've been there since the very start. My very first year of tracking, these guys got a hold of me, and
How many years has it been?
5 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
So their marksmanship hasn't really improved in 5 years.
Well, it's funny you say that because a lot of the
I
times,
just got kicked under the table.
yeah,
Yeah.
that is a
Medical?
misconception.
Is there a doctor on staff?
That's kind of a misconception, and a lot of people do say that, and it annoys me a little bit to an extent on my Facebook page when people will talk about
Yeah.
that.
I know it does. That's why I brought it up.
People talk about, well, you must be a really bad shot, and in a lot of cases, I mean, Jay, you can hold that deer up again, but
Yeah, let's see that
when you've
before.
got a deer the caliber of that, it just goes to show when you've seen the dog work, you know what the dog's capable of.
Yeah.
Why not put your trust in the dog and put all your eggs in one basket versus just taking the time to go out and wander around the woods? So
Yeah. He looks comfy.
he
does.
does look comfy.
looks
It looks like a
good.
good spot for him.
And again, any of our viewers or you guys, we do have plenty of room here. If you don't have room at home, you can leave them here if you need to.
I am
it
running
goes-
out of room.
we are
Maybe
running
next
That goes
year.
for all of our viewers as well. Yeah. So
Sure. But yeah, so for you guys, I mean, I just wanted to bring you guys on because you guys have been here from the beginning. And I think it's neat for the viewers to just kind of hear, because you guys have seen the background since the start of where we've gone and how we've progressed, and from year to year you've seen the changes. And I was just looking just prior to, I think yours was the second buck we've ever tracked.
Wow.
The one on the floor there.
let's see that one. So this was
That was the
this
second deer.
ever
Second
tracked.
deer we ever tracked. So that was a that was a cool,
I was
unique
just joking
experience.
about that. That's still a good buck. And that was the second buck.
Second deer we ever tracked.
Nice.
Yep. So that's kind of a unique situation, but just because they call me doesn't mean that they're bad shots.
No, they're good.
Doesn't
They're
mean
good
that.
shots. You can. I mean, look at that legit beard he's got him. You know that guy is a good shot.
Yeah, he's
If not,
definitely-
he's going to chase that thing
I
down.
don't shoot deer.
he doesn't shoot deer.
He said he was the chauffeur when he.
Yeah, he did.
yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So clarify that buck was shot by.
This buck here was shot by Deanna.
Yeah. So she should be holding the buck.
Yes.
But that's fine.
Yes.
Yeah. I want to clarify to the viewers that is her buck.
She
Great
shoots
job.
all the bucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a great buck.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So I guess first thing is, why do you guys continue to use the dog or utilize the dog?
For me, the end result is to find my deer and to be able to harvest the meat. Obviously, it's not all about that, but it is fun to get that. But we have a swamp. And for some reason, my deer don't like to bleed a lot when I shoot them, whether it's using the bow or a rifle.
Yep.
And it could be just changing up the what I use, but we've learned over the years, and it's gotten better. But the swamp is
They
tough
get hit, they're going there.
terrain. Yeah, tough terrain.
And it's tough to
track in
find
there.
that blood sign in, and if I remember correctly, the second deer I tracked for you was shot with a rifle,
Yes,
but it snowed like 4 inches on top of it in a matter of
Yes.
about an hour,
yes.
Yes.
and that was a
Really?
difficult
Okay.
track.
While she shot it, we were waiting for a little bit. A little mini squall came in and just built up, coated the ground. We went to where she shot it. It's on video. No blood. You can't find blood under 4 inches of snow.
Right. Yeah. No, not at all. I wouldn't think. Yeah.
And we know where they go, in the nastiest part of our swamp, which is not fun.
Yeah.
But you still need some dog to kind of point you which direction.
Which direction?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
She does great.
Yeah. Yeah, when Willow comes in, she gets right to work.
And I think Willow's happy to know that she's got a brother now she can send to the swamp.
Yeah.
So
Longer legs.
Yeah, I was going to say, how does Willow do? Yeah. So was Willow been on all the tracks?
she has.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
It's kind of a tradition at this point, you know.
Yeah.
They call, we got to take Willow. It's
Willow.
just kind of the deal.
Yeah.
But this deer, in particular, it went to high ground. It didn't go to the swamp. Well, it kind of.
It went through the portion of the
little
swamp.
bit
A little
it,
corner of it.
But,
Yeah.
yeah. But
Was it a morning, evening shot?
evening.
Yeah, evening. Okay.
Evening. I was by myself.
So what happened? You shoot it. You call him. You're asking some questions, right?
Well, so talk about when you shot the deer first. It was kind of a cool.
Yeah.
Cool hunt.
So I was by myself. Jay was working. I had a wide 6-point in, and I was watching him for a little while, and then I had an 8-point in, and going to shoot that 8-point. And I had texted him, I'm going to shoot the 8-point if he comes in. He said, go for it. So I'm like, okay, so put the phone down, and I'm waiting for the 8-point to come in. He comes in about 40 yards away, and then he stops. And they look left, both deer, the 6 and the 8-point. And then I'm watching, I'm like, it's another buck coming in.
Oh, they were
And I'm like,
looking at
another 8-point. No, it wasn't him.
Another
8-point. He came in and he had like I think he got in a fight and he had wounds on him. But he comes in, I'm like, I'm eyeing up the 2 8-points, like which one am I going to shoot now? And then
I always have that problem when I go hunting.
every
single time.
eyeing them up, and then I'm like, okay, which one am I going to shoot? And I'm like, they're all starting to look again. I'm like, no way. No way. He's coming in. This guy comes in. He has stuff hanging off his antlers. And I'm like, this can't be happening. He's going to walk right on in.
Right.
We had him on trail camera about once a month.
Yep.
About once a month. So we knew he was out there. But to see him in
Right.
daylight.
With
and
4
then
other bucks
with
at this
four-
point.
Yeah, with the other bucks in. So then I'm like, okay, now I got to get my stuff together and try to figure out what.
Yeah.
Okay. So then the 6-point, he's avoiding all the deer. And the 2 8-points kind of make a way over to the left of me. Of where I was sitting, but I still had to wait for the big guy to come in close enough to shoot.
Now let's be honest. What's your heart rate doing at this point?
Yeah. But I had
Is your Apple Watch going off, giving you?
yeah. Well, I
you
had
know?
plenty of time I had to watch because I had to wait for them to come in.
Right.
But then the 2 8-points start fighting, and it's not. I mean, they're fighting. That distracted the 6-point and this big guy, and I shot him at 22 yards.
Wow.
Yeah.
So they were busy watching the fight.
Yeah, they were busy watching the fight go down, and I told I made a good shot. I know I made a good shot.
Right.
And then I watched him just run and then go right to the swamp. So when I called Jay, he's like, "You got him?" He's like, "You shot the 8?" And I'm like,
No.
No. I'm like, "I shot the drop tine." He's like, he was speechless.
I didn't know what to say.
He didn't know what to say.
Awesome.
And he's like, "How did that happen?" I'm like, "He just walked in."
Yeah.
I'm like, he just walked in. So, and then we tracked, obviously Jay couldn't help because he was working. So we called his friend Brian and Brendan, and my nephew came over. We did the track. The boys are like, it's a dead deer, but we're going to
There's
give
four
it.
inches now.
Nope, this is a
Nope,
different
not
deer.
this
Oh, this
one.
different
Not
deer.
this
Different
one, yep. And he's like, they assured me, Dee's a dead deer. But we're going to come back, let him lay, and we'll come back in the morning. Mm-hmm. I didn't sleep. I'm pretty sure I was up when Jay got home at 5:30 in the morning.
Right.
So that's when Jay had texted
I
that.
texted Kelvin that night
Yeah.
that she had shot it,
Yep.
but he was sleeping.
I was sleeping. It was about 11:30 at
Yeah.
night.
Yep. And asked him, for pointers and if he'd want to come out in the morning. I think I was driving home in the morning and
were.
you had called me.
I was driving to work, and you were driving from work.
Yep. And I told Kelvin what happened. Guys tracked it just a little bit, ran out of blood. Let's just leave it lay overnight. It's cold enough. Nothing's going to happen with it. And
let's be clear, you haven't told me at this point what deer it is.
I did not. But so she videotapes her deer. I sent him a clip of the video, and he saw that it was the drop tine. I told him about it, and he said, I will call you right back.
Right.
So he had to call work, and you worked it out with a guy there
did.
to stay.
Yeah.
He turned around, went home, got Willow, and headed right to our house. I think you almost beat me home.
I did.
You almost
I
beat
walked
me to
in
my
the door.
house.
My wife's like, "What are you doing back home already?" I'm like, "Well, I'm going on deer track."
So let's just pause there for
Yep.
a second. So you mentioned something. You said she She videotapes all of her deer.
Yeah.
Okay. So I just want the ladies out there to pay attention to this part. The ones that are thinking, well, I can't hunt or I'm never going to be good enough. So not only do you shoot a buck every year and you're shooting big bucks and you're watching deer fight, but you're also videotaping during this whole time?
Yeah, I have a camera arm that I videotape my hunts.
Right.
And she's shooting them with a compound.
And I
And
shoot
a compound, yes.
Really? That's impressive. So ladies, if you're watching out there, there's no excuses, okay? she's getting it done. She's doing it all.
It can be done.
Get into
It
the
can be
sport.
done.
I
Yes,
mean,
it can.
you know, I shouldn't pick it on that much. I mean, you look at the women that came in this year, the girls that brought
Yeah.
in bucks.
They did a
Yeah,
lot of-
heck yeah.
I mean, we were posting pictures for a little while there, like every other day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I thought for sure, you know, the girls were going to kind of overtake the guys in them this year.
I
so.
hope they do.
There's
I
always
brought
next
my
year.
buck in
wonderful.
this year.
Yeah, no, it's
Yeah,
great
yeah.
seeing all of them get into sport because you know it's stereotypical. It's been a guy sport. We you know, and we're hoping to dispel that myth because obviously our store is with the stories and the people that are bringing them in. So,
Yeah.
all right, so you call in sick.
So I
You
called
got the dog. You're on the way.
I'm on my way there. I beat him to the house. I get there, and of course, she's in shambles. She's
She
ready
hasn't
to go.
slept.
I haven't slept.
She's in her
I
hunting
cannot
gear
sleep.
from the night before,
Yeah,
ready to
pretty
go out
much.
and look for a deer.
Right.
You do not sleep. You don't.
No, I get it.
You
Yeah.
don't. You don't sleep. You don't sleep. So then I think I call them my posse, my fan club.
The posse
comes.
showed up.
Yeah, they came, and we decided the best
Jay, do
thing.
you ever notice that the posse never follows us?
They don't.
I
They
know.
don't follow
We
the
have to go
swamp.
through all the thick swamp,
know.
but everybody else decides
I know,
they get to
they-
go.
They're there. They're there
Go to
when
the
we come
high
on
This,
the way
ground.
out.
this
This
one
one-
they cut around the front of our field, stayed dry.
Well, no, we
Watching you on Onyx.
we were seeing them in the
did.
field
They
while
did.
they went in to where the track started, and I had my younger brother and my nephew with me, and the nephew was one of them that were tracking the deer the night
Right.
before. And my brother says, I had a vision, your deer's going to be right over in the neighbor's field. Coyotes will get him, but he's going to be right there in that field. And so then Jay and Kelvin, we texted them. I'm like, hey, can we go to the last blood where they stopped tracking? So we crested over on the neighbor's hill, and there's the buck laid.
There he was.
There it was.
Mm-hmm.
So we,
Pretty close to the time that
was
they popped
great.
out on the edge and they seen the deer. We were popping out the other end,
yep.
Right.
walking out, and we kind of
So
all
Calvin's
met
like,
up.
just hang back, let Willow finish her track, and so we.
All I see is Willow in the distance running off. She had her nose to the ground.
knows where
looked
she's
up,
going now.
Looked
Yep.
up and that's a white belly.
Yeah.
She was
Yeah.
beelining right to it.
Yep.
Yep.
And the Jay's two friends, Brian and Brendan, and my brother and nephew, where they stopped tracking, they walked right by the deer the night before.
Really?
Yes.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
They
They
were.
were probably 50 yards from the deer,
From
and
the
the
deer.
deer was dead at that time.
It happens.
It does. It does.
You know.
Yep.
It happens.
And so that's just back to my point too. You know,
Yeah.
doesn't always mean that you absolutely have to have the dog, but if you want to stack the odds in your favor,
No, exactly.
My theory is if you are shooting bucks, and it doesn't matter what size they are, if that buck is a trophy to you, it doesn't matter if it's a 6-point or an 8-point or a 12-point. You should exhaust all measures to find that deer. You owe it to that deer.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Yeah, you owe it at the second you release or you pull the trigger.
Absolutely.
You owe it.
Absolutely.
And, and they're all trophies. That just
Absolutely.
happens to be a really great trophy. Well, that's a great story. Again, I'm glad to have heard that for the first time right here. I'm glad you guys came on and shared it. Anything else we need to add on this one?
no, I just I think it's great that you guys continue to utilize the service, and it's not just for me. I think it's great that you don't know how many people I have call me that say, "Oh, I got your phone number from Jay
Yeah.
and Deanna," or
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
cool for me that I get a lot of those people that definitely call because you guys have utilized that service, and it might be somebody from Manistee County or it might be somebody from Leelanau County. It doesn't matter where it's
Yeah.
at. Word travels.
And I happened to be one that we tracked a deer and it was still alive. And we
Yep.
both-
Okay.
yeah,
We did.
yeah.
We
Right.
bumped them,
So,
and
I did truck through the swamp on that one
did
and
go with
carried
us
my
on that one.
and carried my bow the whole entire way,
Just in case.
just in case. And,
Yeah.
and you did. You're like it's for sure it was alive. And so
Right.
I mean,
Well, that's awesome. That's a great story. I appreciate you guys coming on and sharing that. And hopefully next year we'll be able to have you bring on another one to share. Let's hold that one up
Absolutely.
as you're leaving, and hold that one up so we
Absolutely.
can see them on camera. They on camera? They're good. Camera guy Tom.
Camera guy Tom, they look
Yeah.
good.
Again, if you need to see Tom, look at the reflection of the fireplace back there. We're in high contrast TCH gear. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate
Appreciate
it a
it.
lot. Yeah. Those are some nice. That's a good story.
Yeah.
Yeah, I won't make any more marksmanship comments.
That's all right.
So
It's all part of it.
it's all part of it.
You know.
So I guess my next question before we bring the next guest on is, what's the most common, shot that you're tracking? Is it gut shot? Is it?
We have a lot of tracks that we go on specific to different shot locations, but I think the number one track that we get a lot of is a high shoulder shot.
High shoulder shot.
Yeah, and I think there's a few factors, and again, this might just be my opinion, but I think there's a lot of factors that play into that. I think distance is one of them. I think if people don't really know the true range of a deer,
Yeah.
I think if they
So
came to
they're kind of
TCH
over-
Gear and bought a range finder,
Yeah.
that would probably be helpful for them.
Did you think of that? Did you just put out this little guerrilla marketing? What you just said there?
I didn't even have anything written down or nothing.
was
Did you
great.
see how that played out?
I seen how that played out. Yeah.
But I think the other side of it is when these deer come into a lot of guys, they're really worked up, guys and gals. They're really
buck
worked
fever
up.
going on?
They get buck fever, but I think they get this misconception in their head that this is their only opportunity, and if I don't take this shot now,
Yeah.
I'm going to lose my opportunity.
There's a lot
Probably.
of truth to that. I've done that.
Yeah,
There's a lot of truth
and I
to
think
that.
the one thing that I really, and this is one of my questions when I go through my questioning for people is, did you stop the deer? Or did he stop on his own?
Right.
That makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
When you're bleating at something that's walking or it's running or whatever the case may be, they stop. They're on high alert. And we've all seen the videos out there, those deer ducking strings and whatnot. We get a lot of deer that are hit high shoulder, and that's just because they're ducking that arrow.
I wish I could make that excuse. I mean, publicly with the audience watching now, I didn't get a buck this year because I missed. Actually, it's the first buck I ever missed.
But
With my crossbow.
if you hunt long enough, it's bound and determined to happen.
It's bound and determined to happen. And I had a little incident with my climber last year, and I kind of had a little bit of a flashback up there, and I felt it move again.
Got a little scared of it.
Yeah, and I sent it right underneath there.
Rightfully so.
But I feel better now that I've come out publicly in front of the crowd live and said that I missed a deer.
That's good.
It happens.
Sometimes you
guys.
just got to get it off your chest.
Right. And I haven't been able to hunt as much since we opened the store. It seems like a lot of people come in during hunting season.
I don't get to hunt as much as I used to either.
Yeah, but you did. But you killed a monster last year.
I did kill a nice deer last year.
Like your second time out. Now, have you ever called your own dogs to hunt? Track your own stuff?
My dogs track all my deer.
They do. Okay.
Yeah.
Even if you can see it.
Yeah, you got to
Just
get
for
some
practice?
recoveries in there somewhere.
All
you know?
right.
Yeah.
Well, very good. Well, let's get our guest number 2 coming on here.
Guest number 2.
Guest number
Jessica
2.
and Sarah.
Yeah, Jessica and Sarah. We're gonna get them all
Get them all mic'd
our
up.
key grip. I gotta learn all these behind the scenes audio stuff. We gotta get a team behind us next time.
You got to get a
We are
backstage crew.
We've got our ambassador program that's going to be starting in August, or not August, but in January. I put all of that out in August, and people have been like, "Where are we at with the ambassador program?" I got a lot going on, you guys. We got buck pole,
We got
the
podcasts.
October, we got podcasts.
Lots going on.
Black Friday sales, guests coming on.
Busy
Yours is
guy.
at the taxidermy.
Mine is, yep, he's at the
Okay,
taxidermy.
all right. Do we have pictures of it? We can zoom in on at least.
I do have pictures, lots of
You didn't
pictures.
take any pictures, did you?
Yeah, no, no.
A photo op going after she shot it.
So this is the this year.
This is a this year deer. Yep.
Okay.
Oh, this is my favorite.
I was the
Scout
All right.
giving me kisses. Do I just hold it up?
You
You should be able to get close
Just
to
look at
it.
the camera guy, and he'll tell you how
There we
well
go.
it's coming in. That's a nice phone case, by the way.
Thank you. Amazon.
That would
So this is this year. Did you? And again, if you did, I apologize. Did you bring it into our? Was this archery?
Yep, I did. I brought it in for the
Was it
buck pole.
okay? It was one of the
Yep.
ones you brought in. Okay.
Yep, I brought it in with my cool truck.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Yep, I've been hunting for 20 years, and it was my first buck.
Nice.
So-
Nice.
first buck.
That's the first buck is exciting.
It is exciting.
Very
Talk
exciting.
about buck fever.
Yeah.
Talk about buck fever. Well, awesome. Well, I'm excited. Again,
So-
I haven't heard your story.
Yeah. Start
I'm
right
excited
from
to
the
hear it.
get-go.
Yeah. So, deer season this year I got a really great piece of property
And
opportunity.
we're archery
to
or
hunt.
rifle?
Archery.
Just for the audience.
Yep,
Okay.
Yep, archery season, October 17th. I had been having some bucks that seemed to kind of come through during lunchtime, which I thought was really weird. Mm-hmm. So I took a day off work and sitting out there, decided to sit pretty much most of the day to try to just see what came in since noon seemed to be the time, and 11:45 rolls around, and the guy I was hunting with, he looked out the window and he was like, "There's a buck." And sure enough, he came in and perfect broadside shot. I shot him. I saw the knock of the arrow go right through behind the shoulder. Knew I
Right.
had a absolute
shot.
perfect shot. We went to the spot after we shot, waited a little bit, of course. Could not find any blood anywhere. We found a little bit after a while, followed some for a little bit, then couldn't find anything else. The guy, Tony.
Also blind. Blind
We
as a
love
bat.
you.
We love you, Tony. I don't
Yes.
even know you.
He went this way, the deer went that way.
Oh no.
So he was convinced that I did not get my deer. I knew that I had a perfect shot. The arrow was a perfect pass through. So I called my best friend Sarah, and I knew she would have my back. She came out. We tracked for a while, followed some blood. Still was very confident on my shot, but then we just lost blood.
Right.
We were following.
Pencil eraser size blood spots.
yeah.
I mean,
It was nothing, and we were following.
No snow at that point.
no, but
No.
red and
Nope.
orange leaves everywhere.
You get the red and orange leaves, like, God was mad at us on that. He's like, I'm going to show these.
Yeah,
I'm going to show leaves on the ground that look like blood speckles.
You're like, blood, nope, leaves.
No, that's
Finding
leave.
your deer.
Yeah, exactly.
This girl's got an eagle eye, though. She could spot the littlest spots
Hence
from
what
a
you called her.
mile away.
Yeah. Well, my phone died. I just had got home from working. My phone died. She called me, and I was like, either Thomas needs a ride or she shot a deer. Thomas is somebody she helps. So I get home, plug my phone, and call her, and I was like, did you shoot a deer? And she's like, I did. She's like, I can't find it. And I was like, I'm coming out.
Right.
So after we lost blood, we were following just like deer tracks, trying to,
So you're just
follow
random at
them.
this point.
We were
You're
totally,
total ruining the whole track. And
Toilet
setting.
paper on the branches.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we were just
Which is
going-
great, though.
Yeah,
Which is great.
It was great, especially when Scout came.
Yep.
We
Yeah.
followed that right up. But yeah, we couldn't find anything, and I was like, what? I'm calling Calvin. I had
Yeah.
been following his Facebook for years, and I was like, I'm gonna give him a call because I'm very confident, and we couldn't find
Well,
anything else.
We hit private property.
We also hit
Oh,
private
that's-
property,
So
which we
the last blood, we were like, we need to go get permission.
we went and had to track down like 3 different people till we could find permission,
Which is the right thing to do, in
Yes,
case anybody out there is
100%.
wondering.
Maybe not
if you're watching,
convenient.
It's not convenient, but it
If
is
we
the
would
right
have
thing
kept
to do.
looking, I think we would have found him. He was
I
2
don't know.
ridges over.
Yeah, we definitely Scout made a world of a difference for sure.
So you get the landowner's permission.
Yep, get the landowner's permission.
And you continue on there. You haven't made the call. to
Nope,
Calvin yet?
we got the landowner's permission and called Calvin pretty much at the same
same time,
We
okay.
just at that point I was like, I'm calling Calvin. We're out of blood. We need to get the dog in here. And again, I was still just very confident with my shot.
And this is October this year, so you're off. You're on your
I
1
was
month.
I was on a track somewhere. I don't remember where I was.
Yeah.
But I had said I was on a track that I didn't know when I'd be able to get there. I'd get back with her. I remember pulling in the driveway. She called me back and said I got permission. And I had been on at least 2, maybe even 3 that morning.
Oh, already?
And it wasn't that I didn't want to go, but it's kind of one of those deals, especially when we get in the busy season.
Oh, yeah.
You're beating the dogs up. And I had told her, I said, well, look, I got to put Willow away, but I'll bring Scout out. Scout's
Right.
been doing pretty good. And so I made plans with her, and I went over there. Of course, she had me flabbergasted to begin with, because it's October 17th, and she tells me she shot a deer at 11:45. I'm like, what were you doing?
That's the
Right.
first thing he said to me.
11:45.
Why were you shooting a deer at 11:45? And I said, I just seem
That's
to
when
get their path
it's a good
wherever
spot.
they're
More
going.
myths dispelled, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're the
Yep.
morning and evening. That's the only time they move.
Exactly.
And there it is, the middle
Exactly.
of the afternoon.
Yep, must have been right to where they were heading, wherever. It was perfect little spot.
Yeah.
So yeah, and when Scout and Kelvin got there, we went through our spiel, went on a golf cart ride.
We went on a golf cart ride.
Yeah,
Scout loved that. Yeah.
yeah. It's a little trek to get back to where I was
Okay,
from.
so
the
there's a
golf
little
cart.
bit of cheating. It wasn't all tracking, a little cheating on the golf.
Oh, no.
It's
You
don't
okay.
Track
okay.
back to the stand. You want to
Yeah.
ride back.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we rode back to the stand, and then the track was.
See, if you'd have went with me
Forever,
earlier
yeah.
in the year, you'd have known how the
felt like
process
Trevor.
is.
I would have known.
There's
how
a
the
process to it, and you would have found out all the process.
I would have known and been better situated for
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, it's definitely was a hike with Scout. We went all
Yeah.
over the place.
We did. He took us on a little bit of a goose chase to start with,
we
and
have a lot of
that's been a
hills.
disclaimer that I've had with him this year. Is there's days where Scout will really floor me and just excite the heck out of you and get you excited about what he did, and there's other times you look at him and wonder if he should be wearing a helmet. I mean, it's just you just never know.
When we reached the winery fence, I was like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
Are we?
And I
gonna
thought,
find
no,
this
this
year?
This is
Right.
another one, another piece of private property, or this is the
We
one
got
you
to
did?
another piece. The scout had taken us on a wild goose chase.
Oh, he
Different
did.
way,
Okay.
yep.
All
But
right.
that's that's part of my deal as the handler is to read scouts'
Right.
mannerisms. And when we got to that point, I said, "This ain't right. I know this is not
Turn
good.
around.
We're going back." And
Yeah.
so we did. And then once we got back to where we needed to be, then it was good.
Got on the right
So,
track. Okay.
Yeah, gave him some water and reset him, and he was on it.
Off he went.
Right.
Yeah.
And then he found him.
Yep.
Well,
he
Sarah
found-
found him before anybody. But she got so excited that she yelled out loud.
I said, deer! Everybody stop.
And I stopped thinking, deer, like, is it a live deer? Because I wasn't holding on to Scout's leash at the
Okay.
moment.
All right.
And I typically hold on to it. So when
Sure.
she said deer, I went beep to Scout, like, don't run away on me. And then I realized it was a white belly and he was dead.
Right.
Okay, fine. You can go get your deer now.
Was the find on Facebook? Did you film the find on this?
Yeah.
one? I think I remember
Yeah.
watching.
Matter of
that one.
fact, that video is
High
up
five.
to 859,000 views, I think.
Wow.
Photo
Cow.
credits on there. I was the
She was the
photographer for that.
Video
whole
credits.
work, Yeah.
Yeah.
Videographer.
Videographer.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So let's say 859,000.
Yeah.
All right, so go on to his site. Let's get this thing up.
Well, let's get to a
over
million.
We can get over a million.
Yeah.
tonight.
Over a million.
We
It'd
can
be nice to get it
million.
over a
That's
million.
awesome.
That would be awesome.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
So we get a couple more minutes for you, but take me back because you said first deer. First
Yep.
deer or first buck?
First buck.
So first buck. So take me back. Just it doesn't have really nothing to do with, but that moment when you decided that you're going to shoot and you're going to get your first buck. I mean, motions. What was going on with you at that point?
You know, honestly, I kept pretty cool. I mean, my heart was racing
I mean, you've
a
been
little
hunting
bit.
for 20 years.
20 years.
You're
I've
waiting
been
for this
hunting.
moment.
Yeah, and you know, I kept my cool pretty cool until I pulled the trigger.
Right.
Once I pulled that trigger and I saw that arrow go through, I had my head out that blind looking where that deer was going, just
We
yelling,
all do
I
that.
got it, I
Listening
got
for the
it.
crash.
Yep.
Listening for the crash.
And I watched him. He actually fell and rolled, and then got back up and started running again. And at first I thought he was
I'm not
down,
going to be
but
her
then
first kill.
Yep. Then he kept going, and I had my head out that thing, just yelling, "I got him! I know I did!" and was just shaking like crazy.
That's awesome.
And for
was
me, as a tracker,
amazing.
I mean, I get a lot of people that'll tell me their story.
Yeah.
And I
Oh,
listen to the
100%.
story because, they got to tell me what happened, and I take all the interaction that they have with that deer. But about 70% of the time, most people are not correct on where they think they hit the deer.
Right.
And that's not that it's a bad thing. It's not saying you're a liar. It's just
No,
the fact
you're
that
excited.
You're
There's a lot of
excited. Your
emotions going
adrenaline's
on.
going. Everything's. And so when she told me, she's like, I know exactly where I hit. I mean, I have a chart. I pulled the chart out. I said, where do you think you hit that deer? She told me.
J16.
And in the back of my head, I'm like, okay, Jessica, sure you did.
Sure you did, yeah.
And I got out there and I looked at some of the hair and I'm like, okay, let's see what happens. And in the video, if you go on and watch the video, you'll hear me say, you hit that deer exactly where you said you
She
did.
was ready.
I was.
20 years she was waiting for that buck.
Yep.
She was ready.
I was ready, and I'll
Yeah.
admit if I had a bad shot. And yes, sometimes you think you do and you
Yeah.
don't, but I was
She was
ready,
pretty
and
confident.
I was
You're
focused
focused.
in.
Yeah.
I could see that. I don't even have lit knocks, and I could see that
She's seen
knock
it.
go right through.
Yeah.
But the other side of that too is they attracted about 140 yards, and the deer went about 300 yards, and there wasn't a drop of blood after that.
Wow.
The perfect
So-
And it was hit
double
where?
lung shot.
Double lung.
Double lung.
300 yards on a double lung shot. He was
Wow.
not going down.
And that deer, typically, you've tracked deer before. You see where deer run out and they'll tip over. They're facing the direction they ran. Which way was that deer facing?
The direction that.
He was facing
Yep.
right back towards us.
Yep.
So that deer went out there and had enough time to spin around
Spin
and lay
around
down.
and come back.
Yeah.
Right.
So
He was waiting for her, looking right at us.
Yeah, looking right where I had shot him at.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's a great story, and that's one of the reasons we want to do this podcast is to hear these stories. But I wanted to go back to that because there's just that's what gets people in this sport is that excitement right there. Money can't buy that. All the money in the world can't buy that accelerated heart rate,
nope.
It can't.
the anxiousness, the tunnel vision you start to get.
She
right?
just shot her first deer this year, and I told her that adrenaline rush
It
is the
hooks you.
best.
It does.
It
didn't-
does.
She was like, I don't know if I'm going to get that rush. And I said, if you don't get that rush, you
then
should
don't hunt. Yeah,
She
audience,
shot her
if you
first
don't
deer,
ever
she
get that
got
rush,
it.
then don't hunt.
No.
Shouldn't be hunting.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was
Yep.
like, is it down? Is it down? My husband's like, I don't know yet.
Yeah.
And those are the type of things for me as a tracker. I mean, finding somebody's first deer.
Yeah. Well, that's just
Or
the joy
first
out
buck,
there.
or anybody's deer for that matter. But those are the special moments that I really truly enjoy.
Yeah.
About that, you get to meet people that you've never met before. You get to share the woods with them. You get to go out and track somebody's deer that ultimately could have been left out in the woods, and that's really the joy that I get out of it. You know,
Right.
I'm a tip and donation based service, so I'm not doing it for the money. I'm doing it for moments like that.
Absolutely. That's the same thing with this tonight. You know, I read something. It was on Facebook or something. Says you find out who your best friends are when you shoot a big buck, and who do you call?
Yeah.
You know, and she called you.
I got a lot of best friends.
Well, of course you do. You know, you're kind of artificial, right? I remember. I guess it means I'm Thomas's best friend. But I remember when he shot our camera guy.
Camera guy Tom.
Yeah, camera guy time. You can see him in the reflection of the wood first. I told you. I remember I was on a blind and he shot a big buck. And when he first called me, my heart dropped. I thought he fell out of a tree stand. He couldn't even talk. I'm like, oh, are you all right? Are you okay? I'm fine. You know. And he shot it. His papaw down in Tennessee had actually just given him a Remington 7400 something. If I'm messing up the story. And so he was excited that he shot it with that. That was a big deal. He shot it with his papaw's coming. Who doesn't want to do that? But he couldn't breathe. I mean, the adrenaline was going. And as a dad, you know, my other kids are like that too. It's like, all right, I wanted to instill that feeling in him because again, you can't pay for that.
You can't.
You know, and so
That is the
And
best
even
that's why I wanted to back up to
today,
that
you
part.
can't
So
tell the
absolutely.
story like it happened.
No.
We can tell the story, but it's not.
But it's fun.
It's not
still
truly
fun to listen.
Yeah.
You know, and the viewers are watching it.
Yep.
And you're enjoying it, and our other guests are here. They're enjoying it. So
Absolutely.
Well, very good. I'm going to keep an eye on the clock. I don't want to mess up our first podcast and go 3 hours over. That was the fear.
Thank you guys for coming
I
on.
appreciate you guys coming
Thank
in.
you.
And when you get that back, we'll get another picture at that point. You know,
Yeah.
Put it up on there.
Well, they will do that.
So we'll get our next guest up here. So what's the average success rate for you? would you
Average
say?
success rate.
Remember, Jesus is listening, so don't exaggerate.
Yeah.
It's not a fish story.
So, the national average for recovering deer.
So
With
now
a
you're gonna
dog.
clear yourself the national.
Well, I'm going to tell you the
There's a
national
puff up
first.
coming. I feel it coming. Okay.
No.
Go ahead.
I'm a pretty honest guy.
You are.
And I have no reason to lie about it.
Hence why you're
Right?
here.
The national average for recovery rate is 38%.
Wow.
And that's on lead in states that have on lead. Now, off lead, which we do have an off lead in Michigan, but I track on lead.
you track on that.
I do. 38% is the national average. Now, there's a lot of factors that play into that. You know, we can't find every deer that's not dead.
Right.
So not every deer we get called to go out and track is a
Is
dead
actually
deer.
dead.
And there's a lot of factors that, you know, we can't avoid that sometimes occur. And
Sure.
but we're very fortunate over the last several years. Our average is right around 45 to 48%.
With
I think this year we're right around 48%.
That's good. So that's getting almost to the 50% mark.
Yep.
And some of that is with your pre-interview, right? So
It
you're
is.
You're asking.
But I don't,
questions.
yeah, and I don't screen my calls. I don't
Right.
go on calls that I think are only dead deer because, again, I
Right.
want to be able to help everybody I possibly can. And
But if they missed, obviously.
yeah, but even at that, we'll still go out because
out
the
and see if
dogs
there's
can tell
anything.
us whether you missed a deer or not, for sure.
Nice. That's interesting.
So if you did truly miss a deer, the dogs will act like it's just playtime, it's walk time, it's, you know, there's nothing there for them.
Right.
We do take a few of those, but, you know, in the heat of the moment when it's busy during the time where, you know, we're really rocking and taking a lot of tracks, you know, I do screen a certain amount, and it's
Right.
not to say that I don't want to help you. It's just I don't have enough time
You
to
don't have
help
enough time and
everybody.
enough dogs, and the dogs.
You know,
gotta
when
get
I'm doing
rested as
3 to
well.
5 tracks a day, I mean, I'm doing as many
That's
as
a
I
lot.
possibly can. So,
That's rough on the deer.
yep.
Well, good deal. We'll get our next guest on here. Looks
Mr.
like
Boyd.
you're mic'd up already.
Yep. You want this like right here?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, you can set it down
on
there
the
for
couch.
now.
Yeah, just careful to block the sponsors. I don't want our show to get canceled the first time. You know, I get a call from
Block sponsors.
I get a call from Vortec that they were on our show as a sponsor. We blocked it with that big rack.
Blocked
right?
them with the big rack.
Right. You know, all our sponsorships gone. Our national stuff's gone. You know, then we're not having any more shows.
No
So,
more shows. One and only.
One and only show.
Yeah.
Just, you know, one hit wonder.
Yep.
So
Those are popular too.
those are popular, you know, as long as it's a big one. But I
Big
don't,
one.
you know,
This
you-
might
you
not
get
be
almost
that
a
big.
million views on one deer.
Yeah.
I don't know if the show's going to top that our first episode. Maybe it will. Surprise me.
Hey, you just
know?
never know.
So, all right. Well, hey, thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
I appreciate it. This is a this year deer, or what
Yes,
year?
yep.
Okay, so another this year deer.
This year's. Yep.
Fresh story. Excited about it. And so, all right, let's hear your story.
I'm a little partial to this one.
oh boy,
Out of all
I
the,
couldn't tell your partial to the last two.
well, I have to tell you, this is for me, this is a very special and unique track.
I wonder if you're ever actually going to get to talk or not.
Well, I'm just going to say right now that this track, out of the 5 years I've done this, it's nothing against all the other tracks I've done, but This is probably one of the best tracks I've ever had as far as the dog work, watching the dog work, the ability to go through what we went through, and Boyd's going to probably go through a lot of that, but it was just a very unique and it was a very special track. And
Who tracked on this one?
this was Willow.
This was Willow.
Yep.
Okay, the 22-pound.
22-pound,
Hair
fierce,
ripping out.
hair ripping,
Yeah.
savage.
Had you ever met Willow prior to
Nope,
the track?
That was my first time meeting her.
All right, what did you think when Willow gets out of the truck? Be honest.
I
Come
looked-
on.
I looked at Calvin. I was like, "This is her. This is Will."
Had you ever seen her on Facebook or?
I've seen her on Facebook, but I didn't realize how small.
Oh yeah, she gets there and you're like, wow. I didn't realize at first that he tracks him off of leash or on leash
Yeah.
because I would just assume that you just let him go like a hound dog. And I'm like, that thing could get picked up by a coyote and run.
Or an eagle.
She got picked up by an eagle, yeah.
Then he tells me it's on leash. So all right, so you got Willow. All right, well let's hear the story.
Well, I was actually in Petoskey the morning I shot this buck, so I got him on camera like 8:30 walking onto the property.
Okay.
And I think I left my house at like 8:45, so I was I was on my way down as fast as I could. I get down to my spot. I was trying to think of like where I could get to where he was possibly going. So kind of got aggressive, got in tight to where I thought he was. Got to the base of my tree like I think it was like 11:15. Hung my stand in like 30 minutes.
Another afternoon buck.
Afternoon buck.
Okay, I'm listening.
All these myths that you hear over the years.
Never getting up early to go hunting again.
Yep.
Yeah,
Stay in bed.
Yep, stay
Stay in
in
bed.
bed. Wake up, kill one at noon.
Yeah.
So I was in my stand at like 11:45, and as soon as I got up there, I was looking over onto the next ridge, and I see him nosing a doe like immediately, like
Right.
just got up there, and so I glass him, and he's doing his thing with her, and put my binos down, and look back up, and they're gone. So I'm like, oh boy,
Yeah.
where did they go? So I got my hands in my pockets like this, and I'm just like beaming over there for the next 30
What was the date of this one again?
The 5th of November.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. A little later. All right.
Yep. So I'm just watching and watching and watching, and like I just catch something below me at like 20 yards, and there's the doe.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay, where's he at? and he takes one step, and he's right behind her, and they're both at like 20 yards.
Right.
And my hands are in my pockets. So I'm like trying to figure out what I'm about to do here. And she steps into my shooting lane. She looks the other direction. He walks behind a tree. I grab my bow as quickly as possible, draw. Now they're at like 15 yards. And I put my pins on her, anticipating him to bump her out of the way.
Right. Right.
And
Okay.
that's exactly what happened. And, I was calm, settled the pin, and let it go. And it hit a little bit back. And then he took off, got to the top of the hill, started walking a little bit, and then took off running.
Okay. So you're waiting for him to fall over.
Yeah.
When he was-
I
when he
thought
started
that's-
walking, yeah.
Yeah, I thought he was going to drop right there, and then he just took off running. So, and then I glassed him. I was telling you this when I was on the phone with you, and it looked like it was like 4 inches behind the shoulder.
Okay.
Which it was about 8 after the fact. So, got on the track pretty quickly because I thought it was a done deal. It was a red carpet for about 200 yards, and then he started going uphill. And then I called my good buddy Andrew Milliron, and then we went back, went maybe another 50 yards, found a bed, and the bed was dark red, and there was like gut matter in it.
Okay.
And then I asked Andrew if he knew any dog trackers, and he said, I know the best. So
And that guy didn't answer, so you guys called Calvin.
Did you have that written down somewhere?
No, I just saw it written down anywhere.
Yeah.
Remember impulsiveness.
Remember that first and only podcast?
So I called Calvin and, walked him through the story. He's like, you should probably wait 24 hours. And
Yeah.
that
And you're
was-
like, no way. That thing was big. I can't do that.
yeah, I trusted you 100%. I was like, okay, this is going to be a long night. Yeah. And it was. It was the worst 24 hours of my life.
She's over there shaking
Deanna's
her head
like,
off
yeah.
off camera. The exact same thing she did, yeah.
So that was rough. And then we met, that next morning at like 11 o'clock, and we started on the track where I shot him.
So this is a solid 24 hours later.
Oh, yeah. And I did not sleep. I think the next morning I knocked on doors. I got permission from 3 different homeowners, thankfully.
Okay.
If I didn't have that, I don't think we would have.
Which is a good thing.
You might need to take
Yeah.
some deer and jerky to tell them thank you. Or some Pepsi. This would be just trying to get the sponsors out.
I've already dropped a couple thank you cards.
Yeah,
Right, there you
absolutely.
Yeah, but anyway, we got to the scene of the crime, and Willow just starts going, and we get to the first bed. Calvin's looking at it. we get around this ridge point, and I'm like, I think he went this way, and then she just beams straight downhill, and he looks at me, and he's like, she thinks otherwise.
I can hear you say that, without laughing.
I did. I just
straight
looked,
face.
I just turned around and said, she thinks otherwise, and we
Yeah.
went down the hill.
Yep.
And what did we find?
The arrow, it was like right there. And I was
Okay.
like, okay, that's pretty impressive
Yeah.
this far. We went down the hill a little bit more, and there's a bunch of alpacas down there, and Willow gets caught up in the scent of those, and she's going all the way to the right, just stopping on a hill, smelling around, and Calvin looks at me. He's, I'm not sure if this is the right way. Let's go
Like,
back
I
to
don't
the
know if I
arrow.
believe that.
Yep,
So back to the arrow you go.
back to the arrow we go.
Yep.
We go the opposite direction now. So we're going this way, and she's, weaving back and forth pretty steadily, and then we lose it again. So we go back up the hill, back to the arrow, right?
We went about halfway back.
yep.
Back all those downfalls were.
That's right.
Yep.
And so she got back on that line, started going again, and then we were going to the left for probably another 20, 30 minutes.
Wow. Okay.
And, we started getting closer to this landowner's house, and you can see the yard there.
Burn
in his
barrel
house.
burning
Yeah,
in the
he's burning
backyard.
in the backyard. He's
Standing
waving at
there,
us.
meanwhile, stirring the bird barrel and waving
With
at
some
us.
steaks.
Well,
So you knew
that'd
what
have
happened to the deer.
That'd have been great.
Chop 'em up. So we get close to the yard, and we're quartering right next to the yard, and we get to this thick patch of what was that?
Those are autumn olive.
Yeah, yep.
Love those things. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, they're great.
And we were on our hands and knees, kind of walking through it, and he looks back and he's like, you know what? I don't trust this really. And I look down, and there's a speck of blood right below me, and I'm like, I've got blood right here, Calvin.
He says otherwise.
And what did I tell you? You remember what I told you at that point?
Remind me.
I turned around and looked at you and I said, if I ever say that again,
right.
tell me to trust the dog and stop worrying about it. Because at this point we had gone, I don't even know how many yards. It was probably
700-800 yards.
all of 800
Well, yeah, you said you're going
yards.
20, 30 minutes already.
Yeah.
So you're into this thing.
And for people out there that are listening and watching this, the reason we go back to a certain area is because we're going back to the last known location that I know the dog was
100%.
on it.
Yeah.
And especially with some distractions in there, you got to make sure the dog's on it. I want to make sure we're on that specific deer. I was pretty confident that we were tracking his deer, but I wanted to make sure. And I think I told him a couple times, even though it looks a little messy, we just want to make sure that we're on the right path. We want to make sure that we're tracking your deer. So anyways, we get through the autumn olive.
No, at this point I was pretty impressed. Like, we were tracking pretty much nothing. There was not one speck of blood all the way to this.
And you're
one
climbing
speck.
through there, and there it is.
Yeah, and there it is, like right in front of us. And then we started specking all the way to the edge of the yard.
Did
one
Little
here.
pick up a good scent at that point?
She had the line going across, and I actually stopped her. We ended up out in the middle of this guy's yard. It was fresh cut grass. We're out in the middle of this guy's yard. I mean, literally, I turn around and look, and this guy's turning his burn barrel and waving at me, And so I'm like, I think I looked at him and I said, we're just going for it. And we went across the cut grass and we got into this taller grass, and he yells up to me, he goes, is she on it? And I said, I'm assuming so. She definitely looks like she is.
Right.
And we tucked down into that deep grass, and we go another 40 yards in that pine tree.
Yeah, yep.
And she stopped
Big
and
bed.
started licking the ground, and I said, there's a bed right there, I guarantee you. And he went walking up there, and sure enough, there was blood right there under that bed.
Okay.
That was the third bed we found.
The third bed.
And that was after. So hopefully the listeners listen to that. 24 hours.
24 hours.
Waited, and you're on the third bed already.
At 900 yards.
Yeah, 900 yards. So you think about how sometimes guys come out and just start pushing.
Yep.
And you can see even 24 hours later, you had three beds that he was
100%.
on.
And when I found the first bed, thinking back to it, I definitely bumped him. He was definitely watching his back trail, and I was coming right up to him, sitting on the hill.
Yeah.
And that probably started the whole, trail.
The push, yeah.
Yeah.
So, anyway, we're looking around this pine tree. We're in this ragweed thicket now, and it's kind of mixed with the pines. And the landowner comes over, talks to me, and the corner of my eye, I just see Willow and Calvin just zigzagging through all of this stuff. And he's like, "What are they doing in there?" I'm like, "Looking for the deer." He's like, "You're still looking?" I'm like, "Yeah." I showed him the arrow. He's like, "Okay, good luck. Let me know." So eventually we get down into this ditch, and this ditch is thick. I mean, thick.
Thick.
Yeah, we were on our hands and knees, and
Right.
I believed it, but I couldn't believe it at the same time. That this deer,
So this thing's wanting to get away.
yeah, he's trying to get somewhere.
And he's hauling that through that thicket.
Yeah, so it was shocking to me, to say the least, because I'm on my hands and knees, like, pulling myself through this,
Wow.
deadfall. But anyway, we get to the edge of the road, and Calvin's telling me he thinks that he's going to cross the road, but he wasn't sure. And then Will just right up the hill, cross the road, and we get down into the field. And I think this is when I started getting a little bit more nervous.
That you weren't going to find it?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was just, this big open cattail field, and, you could see for a ways, but it was thick enough.
This is another one of those myths that we've been talking about, that a lot of guys will talk about. Deer go to water, they go to thick cover.
Yeah.
This one went to the field.
This was, I don't know, is that 80 acres, 100 acres, wide open field with one little cattail marsh in the center of it? I mean, you could, as far as you could see, is as far as you could look across this thing, and it was just wide open. We crossed a paved road. We got into the grass, and when we got out into that, I could tell at this point he was, and I think you asked me, he said, when is it that you typically just give up on a track?
Yeah.
And I said, I'm not one to give up on a track. I said, this deer's dead. I know it's dead. I said, the dog's actively tracking your deer. I said, I'm not going to give up on this thing. I will tell you right now, we're not leaving here until I either find this deer or the dog has exerted herself so much that I can't go anymore.
Which made me feel good about that, Like,
Yeah.
we're going to find this deer, hopefully, just where was the question.
You guys are how long into it at this point? An hour?
Once we hit that field, probably 1,000 yards and probably an hour and 15, hour and a half.
Okay. Yeah.
So Calvin's like, let's get back on the road. We had a crosswind coming towards us. We're going to see if she can pick up the scent of him laying in that marsh. So we get, I'd say, about halfway down that road, and she kind of catches something. We go down in, and she's cutting the edge of this cattail marsh, and she's just following it. And then Calvin looks at me, he's like, dude, he's right here. And I'm, where? And then I see my buck.
Right.
And then we just start celebrating, freaking out. I mean, it was a...
So you spotted it for the dog.
She actually was headed to it.
Okay.
So it was a cattail marsh. There was a lot of shorter grass, and then it was cattail marsh here. And we had a conversation walking across the field. If you turned around and looked back, you could see this big pine tree that deer had bedded under.
Okay.
And that's the tree that he had bedded. And I had a conversation with Boyd as we were walking out there. I said, I bet that deer lived out in this field. That was where he lived almost his life. But he bedded under that pine tree trying to get enough steam to get back to where he lived.
Okay.
And I said he probably tried to get bedded up there, get enough steam to get across the road and across this giant field. And as we're walking across the field, I'm telling him, I said, if we get close to this deer with that wind blowing the way it is, Willow's going to smell him. And sure enough, I mean, she was just about to the edge of the cattail marsh, and I could just see her demeanor change just like that.
Right.
And as soon as it did, I just peeked my head up, and he was 4 yards
there.
inside that cattail
Okay.
marsh. And I looked at Boyd, and I said, dude, he's right there. And he looked at me, and he was like, what? I said, your deer's right there. And he just was like,
The sense
what
of
are
relief.
you talking
I was
about?
in, like, shock.
Because you said you were getting close to like, when do we give up? And there it is.
Yeah, and there he is right there.
Well, and every time you turn around a corner, too, I thought, personally, we were getting closer to the deer every 50 yards we'd go. I'm like, man, this deer can't go that much further. This deer can't much. And then when I seen what deer he shot, I was like, okay, that makes sense of why that deer went as far as it did.
Yeah. So you think it actually went through that thicket where you guys were belly crawling?
It's tough to say, for sure.
That's quite a rack to go through there.
You'd be
Getting
surprised,
caught
though,
on
what
everything,
those
yeah.
deer will do. I'm not saying he did or he didn't. I can't say for sure.
Right.
The
was
dog
fine.
took us through there.
Yep.
To
So
say
you're
that
gonna
he
trust
did
the
or not,
dog.
I don't know. But,
Yeah.
at that point, she had taken us that far, and, you got to trust the dog at that point. So
So there it is. You see it.
Yep.
The relief's there. And now you're excited. Now, how far is this from the guy that's doing the bird barrel? Does he ever
Just across the road.
does he ever get to see it?
we could see him. He was actually, you went back across the road to talk to him.
Yep. I went back over just to make
Okay.
sure.
Because it was his field.
Yep.
We had crossed the road. It was his field, and so he told him. And I seen Boyd over there pointing. He's like pointing at me as I'm standing out in the middle of the field next to his deer, like, hey, I'm over here.
I took pictures, saw the film and everything.
Awesome,
He was
yeah.
congratulating me, and then he gave me permission to hunt his property. So it worked out great.
It works out in the
Yeah.
end.
He's like, kill them all. I'm
Yeah.
sick of them.
That worked out really good.
Yeah. So yeah, it was a great experience. One of the craziest things I've ever seen from
Right.
a dog tracker.
Well, that and just I know what it's like to be on a track and just like, man, am I gonna find this thing?
Yeah.
Because you're just thinking about the whole experience, all the prep, the shooting, and you know it's a big buck, and you just want it. Like I said, you didn't sleep the night before, just like you had shared during
Yep.
her experience. and you're just like, gosh, man, I gotta find this thing. I
Gotta
gotta
find
it.
it.
You know,
That's all I
and
was
you
thinking.
probably knew. You're just asking when you give up. You just wanted some reassurance from
Yeah.
Kevin that
I
we're
mean,
gonna
yeah.
keep.
And
going.
we had found too when we got out there, because that's one of my big things. I pride myself in like being a detective work with finding out why and what happened, and come to find out, I was looking at where he was sitting, where the deer was standing. There was a branch there that he never seen the day before, so he actually got deflection. It wasn't that he made a bad shot.
Right.
It wasn't that he had a chip shot at 15 yards and he shot him in the guts. It was the fact that there was a branch there. He got deflection. It hit back. It's an unfortunate circumstance. It happens, but at the end result, if you take your time and you're willing to let the dog come in and do the work, you're rewarded with what you get.
Well, that's a great story.
Thank you.
And I could tell you're excited about it, and that's exactly the kind of stories we kind of want to have on here.
Yeah.
We're short on time. We're over a little bit,
No worries.
which is okay. But before we go off, I did want to ask the question, and this is kind of more for the viewers, or the like, what are the best and worst conditions to track in?
Best conditions that we could ever ask for is pretty mild temperatures, 50s.
Okay.
A little bit of moisture, rain, even snow is good for us.
Okay.
Something where the scent conditions, with that specific scenario there, 24, 25 hours. I mean, we did at several tracks this year at 28 hours. That's
Right.
not unheard of.
Okay.
But when we get really bad conditions where it's super dry, super hot, super windy, that takes the scent away and it makes it a lot more difficult. So a track that we might do at 28 hours with those good conditions now can become very difficult
Right.
for the dogs.
So us as humans, as visuals, we want to see the blood.
Yeah.
But you're saying if the rain comes and the blood's gone, it's not a.
It actually increases the scent for the dog.
Okay.
It makes it a lot easier.
Maybe we can do a podcast on the science behind that.
Yeah, there's a lot of science. There's a lot of things
Probably get
behind
like 2
that.
viewers on it. But yeah.
You'd be surprised how many people would be
Into
intrigued in
the
that.
dirty side of it.
Yeah.
I'd be on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of science that goes into that, and real quick story. I had a track this year. We tracked. It was about 3.5 inches of rain overnight.
Wow.
I was dreading this track. The guy had gut shot it. It was 24.5 hours old. I was dreading going on this track. I did not want to go on it. I shouldn't say I didn't want to go on it, but I was super nervous about going on the fact that we had gotten so much rain. I didn't know how the dog would do.
Right.
Willow went step for step with that deer for 700 yards in about 22 minutes, 24 minutes. Absolutely no care in the world that it had rained as much as it did. She walked right to that deer. It was just unbelievable to see. So that just goes to show, even visually, we don't have blood to see. We personally want to see that blood. We want
Yeah, we want
reassurance
that
that we're on the
reassurance,
right track.
100%.
But you have to trust the dog. You just have to let the dog do the work. And that's where, my first couple of years, I didn't really know what I was doing as a dog tracker.
Yeah.
I was out there just kind of handling the dog, thought that I was going to find a few deer and it'd be
And now
cool.
you're
But
doing
now it's my job to read the dog, know when we're on the track, know when we're off the track, when Scout's taking us for walks, those kind of things.
Poor Scout always getting blamed for that.
But Willow does it too sometimes. But it's just that's the thing is you got to be able to reassure the customer, the client at that point. You got to be able to tell them that you're doing what you think is right for the right reason, not just out there walking a dog.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, if I'm out there just walking a dog, then I'm not doing those people any good.
Well, you're above the national average, and 45% of the time, you're not walking a dog. You're finding them.
That's right.
So, well, good. Well, thank you for the story.
Thank you.
We appreciate you coming on. We appreciate all the other guests that came on.
Yeah. Thank you, bud.
And we're a smidgy over to the viewers. I hope that's all right. But we've had a good time tonight getting together, getting to hang out with you and talk, and bringing the guests
I
on.
appreciate it.
We had hoped that we were going to be able to take some questions, but I think we're kind of over, so we're probably not going to be able to. But I would love if the,
What time
the
is it?
viewers 8:08.
Oh,
We did pretty
it's
good.
only 8 minutes after.
I know that's not bad.
What, you got bedtime? You got to
No,
go to bed
I just,
early? or-
we want them to tune in next time. But I just, what I would ask the viewers that are watching is, I want some content, and you guys put in the comments what you guys think we should talk about. I mean, I don't have a problem figuring out stuff.
Yeah.
And I am debating whether or not Calvin should stand as the co-host.
Oh, co-host.
You couldn't wear that shirt every time unless you're sponsoring the show, and it's
Yeah.
pretty expensive. Let me tell you.
Is it?
Yeah, it's
Yeah, I've
pretty-
heard
We'll
it's-
talk about it off air.
Yeah.
But I sure appreciate you coming on and us hanging out again. I appreciate all the guests that came on as well.
Well, I do appreciate you over the years supporting me and allowing me to
Yeah.
be on your Facebook page, come here, support the dogs every year. And
Tom
so,
knows that I don't like all the banners that get dropped off from our vendors because it looks like a bunch of NASCAR stuff in here. But you're the only one that's
I know
hanging in
it's
here.
still in there.
And it's still in there. When
It's
the
because
coffee
Thomas,
shop,
Thomas hung it up.
Well, that's true. Yeah, he probably used some good drywall screws. Otherwise, I can see the holes in
Yeah,
mine.
he did not do that.
I did not do that. I still can't figure. That's an OSB wall. I don't know how a screw didn't go in there. But yeah, you didn't have any. Yeah, those are those. I'm not sure what's going on there. But anyways,
That's a lot of tries to not just go look for a stud finder.
Well, the stud finder wouldn't work because that actually is wood. The whole thing is plywood, so it's a mystery of how that's not sticking there. But anyways, it's been a great show.
Yeah.
I've had a good time.
Me too.
Michigan Outdoor Chatter.
Michigan Outdoor
And
Chatter.
thank you for your wife for coming up with that name.
She did.
I did wait till the last minute. In fact, she didn't find out until I actually posted the episode this morning.
That's right. She did not.
And I was waiting. It was early. It was like 7:20.
It was early.
I figured you guys were both sleeping. And
Not hardly.
I was just kind of waiting for somebody to finally text a smiley face back. But
And she did too. She was excited
did.
about it.
and I'm excited about it. And again, our goal is to do, if you're still on there, is to do one of these once a month. We'll have to figure out what we do for February, but I'm sure it'll be fun and exciting as this one. Bring some more guests on. And I appreciate everybody that's on there, that's watching it, that's going to watch it in the future. And thanks for joining us tonight for our first episode of Michigan Outdoor Channel. We'll see you on the next one.